Hello, hello. This is Yuri of Moving Sales Professionals and Let's Talk Moving podcast. And with me today, I have Ben Wright. Ben is the CEO and founder of Risely, a digital marketing agency out of Texas that specializes in home service companies, including a lot of moving companies. His team handles full picture local SEO, websites, paid social media content, and Google Ads for companies doing anywhere from 2 million to 20 million in revenue. What I really want to talk to you about, Ben, is how people search and choose a moving company is shifting at this point, and what owners should actually be paying attention to.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me, Yuri. Back in the day, someone would search Google. They go to Google, movers near me. Even Google Maps is kind of what most are using right now. If they're still
Sure.
using Google, I go to Google Maps. I type in movers near me, or I type in movers Frisco. Wherever around where I'm located, and you pick a few links. You call the first one. If they don't answer, maybe you call the next one. And that's
Sure.
just not how it works anymore. It's changing. And Google AI overviews, they're now summarizing the results at the top of the page.
Right.
You've got people using ChatGPT. So, you've got Google's AI mode, which, is Gemini, right? And
Right.
AI mode is as soon as Google figures out how to make money from Google Ads, then AI mode will be the new way that people are searching for movers. So it'll be a conversation. It's not just going to be a search with a bunch of blue links anymore. And so we just try to stay ahead of that, and we're trying to figure out, okay, how are these models figuring out which company to show? So one of the biggest ones on the Google side, they're still using Google Maps a lot, like all of the Gemini and the AI overviews and AI modes, like they're still using Google Maps to pull a lot of the data for local searches. And so that's really, really important. That's what I tell all our clients, like, keep going on Google Maps, keep doing that. But there's also a whole nother level. I mean, ChatGPT and these AI tools, they're literally recommending specific companies. People are reaching out to those companies because these tools recommend them. So you got to figure out, how to show up there.
And now for a word from our sponsors. If you're a moving business owner, you may have already heard of Moversville, an email marketing service that helps moving companies increase, repeat, and referral business. But have you heard of Moversville Connect? Moversville Connect is an incredible resource for all things moving. They feature an array of vendors and services that cater specifically to the moving industry. You can find companies that provide moving software, moving sales services, marketing services, moving equipment providers, and much, much more. Visit moversville.com today to learn more.
A lot of customers they're just researching a lot more than they were in the past. Before they call, they're looking at your reviews, they're checking out your social media, your website, and these AI models, they're doing the exact same thing. So you just, you show up in multiple places. That's how you win.
Okay, so if a mover, well, if what role would you say now then the social media is actually playing for a moving company? A lot of owners, for whatever reason, think it's a waste of time. I don't. I'm a big fan of social media. I certainly think that it has place to be, and I think it's the way of the future. We definitely need to
Yeah.
move away from, obviously, the yellow pages don't play anymore. Some of the other stuff doesn't play anymore, and unfortunately, a lot of companies, especially the companies that have been in business for a long time, they are still trying to do things the same, and it simply does not play.
Yeah. Well, you can follow Google on that again. So if you do a search on Google right now, you go to the regular old search, but you've got the tab for AI mode if you want to play around with that. But you also have short videos. Now they have long videos. Now for moving companies, they're showing videos from social media directly on the first page of Google. So, I mean, social media is playing a huge part for SEO because it's also, it's showing Google and these other tools like, hey, we're active here. And so it's a trust signal for them, but it's also a trust signal for a prospect. Like I said a second ago, if a prospect is, searching and they find your website, a lot of times they're clicking on your Instagram or Facebook. And if your Facebook or Instagram, the last post was 6 months ago or a year ago, or the page looks dead, that's a red flag. Even subconsciously, it's a red flag. And like you don't mean it to be, but the post doesn't need to go viral. You just got to show that you're active, you're real, you're professional. Post pictures of your crews, your trucks, happy customers, moving tips. Yeah, those are the big ones. I mean, I think the on the other side, you could think about paid social. It's a lot of owners don't realize this, but I mean, you can get in front of people before they even start searching for movers. So you can target homeowners in a certain zip code who just listed their house, things like that, before they even get to moving. So get to searching for movers. So yeah, it's huge. I mean, we're seeing it. The companies that we have that are doing social, whether it's in house or even with us, those are the ones that we're seeing win on SEO and on a lot of the AI search.
Okay. So if a mover is spending money on marketing but not seeing the results, what could be the real problem?
There's a few different things there. I think probably 90% of the time it's tracking. I talk to a lot of prospects at our business, and a lot of times the owners or the marketing person is like, well, we do XYZ marketing, but I'm not really sure which one's working, but our phones are ringing, so it must be working, or our phones aren't ringing, so marketing's not working. So they're just kind of taking a guess.
Does your company need more creative marketing and ad campaigns to improve traffic and organic leads? Well, Moving Sales Professionals has a solution for you. We have partnered with social media marketing agency that has over 300 million views on their ads and videos across social media, and they have generated over $35 million for their clients over the last 10 years alone. Their services include content creation, social media ads, pay-per-click campaigns, website and funnel development, Google Ads, email marketing campaigns, lead generation, and much, much more. For limited time only, they have discounted rates for their services. Sign up for a free consultation call with us via our Calendly link on our website or below this video.
Or they think you can't track SEO or ads or things like that. Just you've got to implement tracking, call recording, form tracking, know exactly where every single lead's coming from. I mean, you should be able to tell if a lead came from Google Organic, if it came from Google Maps, if it came from ChatGPT, if it came from the web, a yard sign. Like, you need to track all of those channels so you know what's working and put more money in those, and take money away from the ones that aren't working. So you need to do that. And then you need to, if you've got a good CRM, uh, know your cost per lead by channel, and your cost per booked move is even more important. Because other than
Sure.
that, the marketing decisions are kind of blind.
Yeah, of course. And we want to make sure, obviously, that you know where your buck is going. At the end of the
Yeah.
day, you want to know where your money is being spent and whether it's being spent wisely or whether you need to look at something else that's going to be more effective for you.
Yeah, exactly. I love trying all different kinds of marketing sources. Every city, every market is different. Some markets direct mail crushes it, and some markets direct mail does not work at all. So you've got to, take your market and try everything, but also track it. Just track it, and you'll know what's working.
Now, one of the and you can tell me if you feel that there's a benefit to that. But one of the SEO people that I've talked to in the past, he mentioned that there was a uh, one of the good ways whenever you're doing SEO is if you're using a certain marketing strategy to try it out somewhere where your click costs less than in US, for example. So like maybe try something that would work in, I don't know, India or Pakistan or some lower paying countries where, it's like your click is going to cost you 10 cents versus $10.
We don't really do that, but I guess every business is different. I just find that every country even is so different. So they're all going to perform a little bit differently in each country. And
Mhm.
it's just the way that technology works. Some countries internet is faster. Some countries, there's different things that are more important. I don't know. I think that it varies so much by market in the US that you could take a big city, uh, you know, a million people in a small town of 10,000 people and take the two different companies there. Sometimes the same exact strategy works. Sometimes those strategies just don't work. Some people are more, if it's more rural, they're less likely to be on ChatGPT. But if you're in a market where AI usage is heavy, then you're probably going to get more people finding you through ChatGPT. So I don't know. I think times change very fast right now.
So would you say that there's an amount of money that people should be spending before they see results, or is there a sort of budget that you would say that you've seen
Mm,
be more successful rather than less successful?
That's a good question. And I hate to give the marketing answer of like, it depends. But if you think about Google Ads, you definitely want to spend money to get data. And Google's algorithms can only really make changes based on the data it gets. So if you have really good data that you're feeding back into it, saying, okay, these leads drove this much revenue, and or these leads drove mostly unqualified phone calls. That's one thing. For a moving company, Google Ads, they're not cheap. So
No.
you have to spend quite a bit of
That's why I'm
money to
asking
get
these
good
questions
data.
exactly, because
Yeah,
it is you can
yeah,
spend a lot of money before you're seeing any results. So is what's the right
yeah,
amount? That's what that's what I'm talking about.
yeah.
Potentially, does it make sense to spend those funds in a different market?
Mhm.
For example, yes, we talk US. Obviously, US spending marketing dollars are more expensive, but if we're talking, there's plenty of countries that have heavy moving industry, like India. That's why I mentioned that.
Yeah.
They do have a moving industry in India, and if you look up online, there are a lot of moving companies in the area. So perhaps using that as a testing ground is not a bad idea, simply because it's going to allow you to test and see if I mean, not to say that what you try over there is going to necessarily work over here, but the cost of trying it is less than just strictly going straight into your market and trying new things and trying new strategies where you don't know if they're going to pay off.
Yeah. Yeah. I think from an ads perspective, well, for us, it doesn't make sense to do that because we have, millions of dollars of Google Ads data. So we just know the keywords that work here. But
Sure.
I do, I to what you're saying, I do love to having websites for the SEO side and other random marketing strategies. I love to have websites that are kind of testing ground. So it's like take that, put it in that market, spin up a bunch of crazy stuff, or do
Sure.
something wild on the website and just test how it goes. Right? Those
Right.
are those are fun. Those can be done, and that gives you good insights on how Google might react to something that you do. Or you could take it in an industry that's maybe less expensive and or less competitive to compete.
Right, absolutely. Because of course, in moving, we do have to worry about competition, or whether in US, of course, US you have more vast areas, but I also work with UK. So with UK, you
Yeah.
have less areas, more people, and a lot of moving companies that are competing for the same business. So that can get a little crazy at times. Anyway, we can
Yeah.
talk about that a lot. So I'm gonna make sure I provide Ben's information in this podcast so you guys can check it out and reach out to him. And of course, please like, please subscribe, please support what we're trying to do here with our education efforts, so to speak, and making sure that the industry owners that are been in the industry for a long time or new guys that are coming into the industry, that you know of the options that are available there for you. So, Ben, thank you very much for joining us. And like I
Yeah.
always say, the world moves on its own, so let the professionals move yours for you. Thank you for joining us,
All
and we'll
right.
talk again soon.